Hold on, wait.
Stories. Do you care?
Do you care?
Yeah.
That is hilarious. Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode, our first live episode of the Dumbass Film Students. This is basically a bunch of random motherfuckers who are in the film business in some form or fashion, or even just movie, fans, and we come and we give our take on films that we watched this week. You feel me? We got two dope films that we're going to talk about.
I don't know about dope.
Okay, well, here comes the racism. But
I promise you, it never fails.
here comes the male Candace Owens.
I don't know about dope.
Nah, but my name is Rudy Wilson. For those of y'all who don't know me, I got my compadres here. Got D.A. Henry from I guess residing from LA right now. Lonnie Cox, somewhere wherever Carmen Sandiego is, that's where he is right now. They're together. And then of course we got B Moore in the house, but don't get it twisted because she's from the Chi. You know what I'm saying?
No, what's up?
Chili man, how's everybody doing since the last time we've seen each other?
Ladies first, if you want to start, Brianna.
Chilling like a villain at the Holiday Inn.
Okay.
Like at the Holiday Inn. What you doing? Nothing.
You sound like an old ass man. Oh, the Holiday Inn. All right.
Who you with? Me and my people in the field.
The Holiday Inn. All right. I like that. I've had some good times at the Holiday Inn back in my day. Yeah. Lonnie, what's up with you, man? You look like Lil Jon from Robin Hood. Like
That's a good look. I could go for that. I was trying to think of like if I were to start auditioning for movies, like what kind of roles would I have to go for? And it's almost always like I've been watching the show Vikings, and I'm like, okay, I could get casted in this show easily.
Absolutely.
But Lil Jon, exactly, like old Renaissance films where I'm like the ruffian, never the leading guy. No, never.
Or the head football coach.
Head football coach
you
for
can
sure.
Always be a head football coach.
Any football coach, not football player. Maybe football player.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, you could, but the coach is just way more like I could see that. Like certain people just have coach looks, and like you definitely got it. I mean, but not
maybe like bouncer, like doorman, like doing this to like hold up the main characters as they're like
only at Black Club. Only at Black Club.
Lauren says I could be a domestic terrorist. That's another one.
Right. Gotcha. What type of role you think you'll be casted for, DA? If you went out for a role, like what you think that?
I'll probably be the racist cops based on you guys. Yeah, like we saw in Compton, the guy get on the ground. Or the I actually just watched what's it called? Wu-Tang, the
series.
Yeah, the saga, and they had one of the kids, one of the black guys from the neighborhood who was a cop. He killed one of the members, and it was just like, damn, that probably be me, that's based on what you guys are saying. But if it was me, I'll probably be like, I don't know, I'll probably be a superhero, maybe.
Oh,
well, who the fuck?
I could be a superhero. Wakanda forever, man.
They will make sure your whole suit will have to have a bunch of cut out outlines of muscles that you don't have. So we can.
No, look at. I'll be the stunt man. You can only see the back of my head running.
If DA is the person I'm depending on to save me, I'm be like, hey, listen, this shit is over with. Like this is
If DA can be a superhero, I'm gonna audition for whatever Brad Pitt auditions for.
Yeah, man.
Every movie,
I don't
every
think I can
movie.
be a superhero at all. Like I can say.
I mean, I think you could be a hero in a movie, but not a superhero. Like you would like,
you know what?
I'll probably be like the
Save a cat.
Equalizer or something.
Like save a cat from a tree. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yes,
like,
you live.
What was that
Yes,
movie
you
with
live.
Damon Wayans? Was it like Blank Man, where he was like the nerd?
Oh my
That's what you can be.
lord!
That's your lane right there.
Gotcha.
No.
That's
No,
it.
That was
most
a great
definitely.
movie. I love that movie.
Most definitely, I'll probably be like a cop or something though. I'm
Gotcha.
pretty sure that's who.
The
A
hero
cop
cop.
or a lawyer,
The hero cop. I got you. The hero cop.
just like in Just Mercy.
Right. Right.
Oh, okay.
What
Got you.
about you, Bree?
You know, I'm an actress, so I mean, I can say a lot of the roles I've gotten. I've got everything.
But the question is based off of like your appearance and what somebody would take you for. What do you think they would cast you for? Like Lonnie looks like a coach. DA looks like a cop. What do you think you would?
I look like a cop now.
What is it the
Notice I
glasses?
him
You
to
ain't
the
no
party.
glasses now.
Cop. I'm just going on what you
Look
think.
at.
I mean, based off of, of course it depends on the day, because you know, women, we change our looks up so much. I mean, but I could see myself, you know, getting casted as like today, probably like, you know, somebody in maybe the fashion industry or like a counselor.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like a rap.
If you was a counselor like at like a black elementary school with a bunch of bad kids, like you'll be the one, like when they see you coming, they straighten up. They're like, oh shit. Like,
Right. And what's
I
crazy
think of all
is
of us,
I
actually,
was
Brianna
a
has the
teacher.
most versatility when it comes to like what I could see her
right.
being in terms of like types of movies. Like I feel like I could see Brianna in like an Office type of movie, any type of like romance film, any like serious like school drama for sure. I think Brianna has the most range of all of us.
A fact.
Oh, thank you, Lonnie. You know, I'll work on it.
I don't think I would be much more than what I'm doing right now. Like I would be like a podcast host in the movie. Like I would.
You'd be the Dave Chappelle
like a
of
disc jockey or something.
Right. I would literally just be sitting there asking, hey, so you know what? What do you guys think you would be in the movie? Like I would literally do that in a movie.
Yeah, I can see that. You know what, Rudy? Who I could see you as like an uncle.
An uncle.
I'd be Uncle Snoop when he was the DJ in Dolomite. That would be me.
That's you right there. That's you.
Yeah. No, I don't know, man. I've never really even thought about like what would be my dream role or whatever. Like I've always like imagined just say having being in a movie, but I don't know if I ever like saw somebody on screen was like, yo, Denzel in Glory, like that, you know what I'm saying? Like I never, had that. So I don't know. I don't think
I would want to learn to play an instrument so I can be like a Robert Blues.
Oh, I thought you meant because he learned it.
Oh, I could see you in that era. I definitely could. You got like the personality.
You ain't got no rhythm though. He'll be sitting there snapping off beat.
Damn, I got rhythm. I got rhythm. See, at my wedding, I almost earned my black card back because of my rhythm.
My jelly roll. He'll be singing like the white dude at the end of Ma Rainey.
No, that's like you can't start off no song. You just gotta fall in. That's it. You can't start off no song. We don't get the beat. You come in when you fit in.
I feel like you guys are just being racist to me.
Oh, okay. All right.
I feel like you guys are stereotyping me for wearing glasses. That's what you guys are doing.
Or maybe you just fit the stereotype even more with the glasses.
Yeah.
When you took them off, you already still look like
it's probably not even helping because I'm wearing this Mandalorian shirt.
Oh
yeah, you kind of are. You kind of are.
Hey, and shout out to my cousin, man, Randon Ping. He just asked, "Are we live?" Yeah, we live, man. He's been on the show before. He's a fan of the show. He's a movie head. So I'm sure he's pretty much interested to hear what we got to say. And I feel like we should just go ahead, and get into the shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Watch more, talking about you guys and your fantasies. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about some people who've already got it done at a high level, right? I think we should start with Straight Outta Compton. I think we should start with Straight Outta Compton for two reasons. Number one, because Lonnie hadn't seen it. But number two, I feel like it's more of a. We dealt with two just say low key biopics today, but I think this is more one that we all just say kind of lived through their story closer than the other one, and I feel like perspectives are going to change just in that regard. So I just want to talk about this one first. So once again, shout out to all the filmmakers, the actors, everybody involved with these films. You guys got the job done. You guys are the heroes. These are just our opinions, good or bad. Take it with a grain of salt. All right, so Straight Outta Compton is a 2015 film. Director F. Gary Gray. Shout out F. Gary Gray, the OG. Woo-hoo. Starring Jason Mitchell as Eazy-E, Corey Hawkins as Dr. Dre, O'Shea Jackson Jr. as Ice Cube, and is it Aldis Hodge as MC Ren, and Neil Brown Jr. as DJ Yellow. Yeah, man. So let's I guess we can go ahead and do our voting system. For anybody, if this is your first time watching, we basically just give a quick thumbs up or thumbs down to give our overall vote of how we felt about the film. And then we basically just start talking shit from there. All right. So overall feelings about Straight Outta Compton on the count of three. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Well, that's the racist cop. So here we go.
Of course, because listen, DA always bring it. Listen.
Look it.
DA is like the cops got a bad rap. The cops.
Exactly.
There should have been more cop scenes.
How dare they play that song? How dare they play that song when the cops specifically told them not to?
They warned them. They told them to be good boys, and they weren't good boys.
Oh my gosh! They gave them strict guidelines that they did not follow.
Exactly. No, what's your thoughts, D-Ray? Why are you thumb sideways in this?
No, honestly, the first time I watched this, I loved it. This was actually my second time watching it, and I just was like, watching it again, I was like, there's nothing really special about this, and I feel like
are you talking about from a filmmaker's perspective or their story?
I mean, their story is, I don't know, it's a story, I guess.
Wow.
I mean, they overcame. We all have a story of overcoming. It's a story that's been done before. But one of my biggest things about this movie is I feel like Ice Cube's son. I feel like he just was not hitting the bar for what I thought Ice Cube, or who I thought Ice Cube was, and how I at least what I've seen Ice Cube represent.
Right.
So I just thought he was mediocre, where Ice Cube was, I don't know. Ice Cube was here. This is his son playing him. And so he didn't just meet the bar for me. And I kind of feel like
what is your bar?
Exactly. Can we just clarify that?
My cousin agrees. He says he agrees. But what
let us know. What does that mean? What do you? Yeah,
I said this is Ice Cube.
But
like if you go back and look at Ice Cube, not only in music videos, listen to the lyrics. One, you could tell that wasn't his voice. That wasn't his son's voice when he was rapping. It seemed like everyone else was actually at least trying. And then two, if you go look at his movies, three, I'm sorry, if you go look at his movies, those at least show me who Ice Cube was. And he had the perfect opportunity to show us how he had the perfect opportunity to show us his strength in the role when he was like, "Where's my money? Where's my money?" It was literally like I came in there and say, "Hey, where's my money? Where's my money? I got a bat.
Hold on now.
I got a bat and I'm black. I'm gonna be aggressive, he could have. I just feel like he wasn't as aggressive as I feel like Ice Cube would have been.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying he was right here. He may vary,
Well,
to very different people.
Can I ask you this? Is he the person who made or broke this movie for you? Like, because you gave it a thumb sideways, but he seems to be your heavy topic. So was it him or was it anything else outside of this?
No, I think it was honestly, I think it was just I honestly think it was quite a few of them.
Right.
I kind of felt like their acting wasn't up to par. And I felt like that's what really took me out of this. And like I said, this is my second time watching it. My first time watching it, I was like, "Oh, damn,
I got
this is
you.
a great movie."
Before you keep going with the acting, are you saying just simply their performance, or in comparison to your vision of like the way you know Ice Cube? Did you know Yella, DJ, MC Ren, Eazy-E? Did you know their personalities to make the same comparison like you did with Ice Cube's son?
I don't know what their personalities were outside of what I've seen on TV.
But I'm saying, have you seen
Did you
them?
know them? Yeah.
The same way you know how Ice Cube is, and you compared his son. Did you know Eazy-E, DJ Yella, MC Ren, all them that exact same way?
I've seen them in the music again. I've seen them in music videos and whatnot.
Did you know them to the
Yes or no question?
No, I don't. I'm answering the question. I'm not beating around the bush here.
No, I'm saying listen to the question. To the same degree as you know Ice Cube, because Ice Cube is the biggest figure even to this day out of all of them, whether it's movies, rapping, or whatever. So what I'm saying is, did you have that same knowledge of their personalities or whatever to the same degree as Ice Cube?
Okay, if I'm not answering the question, I guess no. But
you don't guess.
That's, again,
no. Okay.
I guess I'm literally saying I can only go based off of what I've seen them in.
But you haven't seen them as much as Ice Cube, is my point.
Exactly.
So the answer is no. Then that's the whole thing. That's what I'm saying. So
but I said that the first time. I don't know.
So to move past that, now I'm asking: did you only have just their acting performance to judge it off of, or were you making the same? Because even with O'Shea Jackson Jr., you're judging his performance based off of his portrayal of his father, but you weren't really just speaking to like, oh man, this nigga can't act. You didn't say that. You were talking about specifically his portrayal of Ice Cube. So I'm saying,
oh yeah, I've seen O'Shea Jackson Jr. in other stuff. I think he's a decent actor.
Okay, so right. So what I'm saying is, how do you make that same comparison of your feelings to the other ones that you don't know how to make the same comparison like you did with Ice Cube? Like, did you just think like they just sucked, or did you just think like maybe that is how that person was, and I just didn't know it? Again,
with my second time watching this, I was just like, I felt like it was someone's story being told, not a story being shown. If you don't understand that, let me make it clear.
I understand.
Okay. For the
whoever doesn't, make it clear for the audience, for those in the back.
Whoever doesn't understand,
I want to make sure they knew he wasn't talking to me. That's what I'm saying.
So,
really, like, I don't care what your point is. I just want to make sure that you know I got what you're saying.
But look at so they had to get all this information from someone.
Right.
And whoever they got whoever their sources were, they told them this story. They can make themselves look different in a better light, however the story was told.
Right.
But if the story was shown, like if we had documentary footage, I'm most definitely sure it wouldn't have been like that. I'm most definitely sure they were a lot more ruthless with their whole attitude. Because you had to be, I don't know. I feel like you had to have everyone who comes from, kind of not a bad neighborhood, but who has to, you kind of have to have that, that hardness to you, at least,
But what it sounds like to me now is that you're prejudging.
Oh my God, I'm not prejudging anything.
No, and hear me out, because when you say someone came from a bad area, right?
I didn't.
That's what you said, or excuse me, or just not your word.
Sure.
You said someone coming from a bad area has a certain type of hardness, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, and I want to make sure I'm being clear, with saying that you're prejudging is now, I understand the ruthless comment, but it sounds like, what were you expecting? Like, were you expecting for them to set the whole place on fire? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like what? Like,
No.
Like, not trying to be like funny, but like, what is your definition of hardness? And it's coming from a personal experience, so that's the way our opinions work, right? So, what in your idea is considered hard that would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, that's motherfucking ruthless?
Look at, I can go based off of this. I personally had to, because while in school I needed money. I had to deliver food in those areas, and
Right.
I've actually grown up in areas like that. So I know how hard you have to kind of present yourself so no one walks over you.
Hey, but let me ask you this though, DA. Let me ask you this. Do you think that?
God damn, is this an interview for DA?
No. What's Well, no. What I was gonna ask you this, like, do you like when you watch, like, just say certain war movies or whatever like that? Do you think that portrayal is as hard as a real life combat?
I would say, what was that one movie we saw? I would say this again. I think there are stories that are told and there are stories that are shown. And I think sometimes me personally as an audience member, I want the unfiltered truth. I want to see what really happened. I don't want, this is, I don't want the nice image of what happened. I feel like if you're gonna show me a biopic, show me what really happened.
But this is what I'm not
Dexter, stop it.
I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm asking is that anybody who is making a replica of something that happened in real life, whether it's a biopic like this or whether it's a war movie, my question is, are they duplicating it or replicating it in a way that you feel like is hard enough in a war movie? Like, do you think that what you see on that screen is equivalent to what actually happened? Or do you think that this is a good, and I'm not talking about telling the story or showing the story. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying to your point of the hardness of them not being gritty enough. And I'm not saying this to disagree. I'm asking a question just in general.
And
any movie that fits that bill, do you think that it has the appropriate hardness, or is there always some type of softness because of the fact that it is a movie?
I think some movies show the realness or the hardness, but some others, come on. I think Rambo kind of glamorizes it. Would you not say that? One man taking on 50,000 other men.
Right.
Survival of the
Rambo
fittest.
are we talking about?
But I'm still talking about replicating a real life story.
Dexter.
I'm not talking about a character that somebody can just do what they want.
No, I feel like you're not understanding me. I'm saying that some movies will show that hardness, and some won't. I'm not saying that. I'm basically saying it depends on the movie. It depends on the movie.
Do you think that NWA in this movie was glamorized?
I don't think they were glamorized. I think I think someone told their story, basically. You know what? If you've seen The Last Dance at the beginning, I think Michael Jordan, he was like, I don't want to really do this because I don't want people to, look at me differently.
Yeah, but you gotta think about that's actually a docu-series.
I know. But that's what I'm saying. Some movies actually show the hardness. Jelani, what was the movie that you chose? Where they were the bomb disabler?
The Hurt Locker.
The Hurt Locker. I felt that. I felt like that was based on a
real. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brown. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was asking, is that based on a real person, or was that a fictional, non-fictional story?
it's definitely
It's fictional.
Okay, so to your point, that's a totally different thing. This is nonfiction. So the comparison to me doesn't seem.
Which is the question I've been asking this whole time. That's why I keep saying when they're doing a replica of a real story, whether it's war or whatever, are they bringing that same hardness compared to what actually happened on that battlefield? Or do you think because it is a movie, there is always going to be some type of softness? That's what I'm asking.
And I feel like I'm answering.
I can't move on from. I'm saying, but you're not answering it. That's why.
But I am. I'm saying that it depends on the movie. If there's no
every movie that you named turned out to be fictional.
Fictional. It wasn't non-fictional.
I have to name a non-fictional.
Rambo and The Hurt Locker. That's two movies that are fictional. That's my whole point. Hey, Lonnie, what you think about this movie? I'm done with this. I'm done with this.
Okay, what do I think about this movie? I think it's great.
This is your first time, right, Lonnie?
Huh? This is my first time seeing it.
Okay.
However, I am extremely acquainted with the story of Straight Outta Compton. It's one of my favorite groups growing up. I'm a huge Tupac fan, Snoop Dogg. When they were I was rapping along to 45% of this movie. So this movie was great. I love it. So let's see. So to what DA is saying, they definitely did leave some parts of the story out.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like to kind of fit. I mean, they said it quite frankly that they left out Dr. Dre's assault of a woman because it didn't fit the narrative of the story that they were saying. They also left out when he beat the shit out of a journalist. They left some things out of the movie. Did it ruin the movie for me? Absolutely not. I still enjoyed the movie a lot. I think also what DA is saying, and I do agree with, is that they did kind of I think they softened the edges a bit of all of these guys, which it didn't ruin the movie for me. It didn't take me out. It didn't, or suspend my disbelief, ruin suspend my disbelief, but there were definitely some parts of is Eazy-E that business savvy? Is he that? There were definitely some parts of that I was I wonder. That being said, I did think it was great. I liked a lot of I thought O'Shea Jackson was great. I don't think they could have found anybody to have portrayed Ice Cube better than his son. Right. I love that part in the movie when he's I got a baby on the way, and it's me.
Okay.
It's me. I'm gonna be born in a couple months. Right. He's talking about himself. I don't know if you guys knew that, but when he was I've got a baby on the way, that was him that he was talking about.
Right.
And then him smashing up the studio. I love that. I loved all that stuff.
But see, this was the first time watching it. Wait. No, I started talking first.
Before you say something, because I want to be clear on something.
Okay, let's go.
This is why I keep saying that you never answered the question, because every time you said thank you, Lonnie, when Lonnie agreed with you, it's because all of your answers have been definitive. I've never said DA, you were wrong. I asked you a question of, do you think all movies that are telling a real story, do they soften? Was my question. And you never said yes, they do because it's a movie, or this is an example of a movie that was real that was not softened. That's my whole point. And you never crossed that bridge. Okay. We can move on. I just want to make sure.
I think there's really only, there's not a lot of movies, I think, especially biopics, that don't soften. The one that I can kind of think of that doesn't really pull its punches is Walk the Line. That movie really kind of showed Johnny Cash to be very damaged and very abusive and addicted and stuff like that. Also very talented. I love that movie too. I love Walk the Line, but it's hard. You're getting the story from the people, from them, right? They're going to tell you their own story.
All movies based on a true story are not 100. None of them are 100%.
No. A lot of the things in this movie, you were just kind of supposed to interpret. They weren't necessarily the exact same thing.
Right.
You know, like I'm not sure that Dr. Dre like got arrested the night that he fought Suge Knight's friends. You know what I mean? They're just compressing the story into a 2-hour.
I'm pretty sure when he left at the end for good, he didn't turn around and say aftermath. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? That's my whole point.
I thought that was very cool, though. I was like, I know the name. I know it. I know what it is. It's aftermath.
But because it's a movie, they're doing that with the whole film. All of it is we're gonna take the truths, but we're gonna still make a beginning, middle, and end.
Biopic, yeah.
Right, that makes sense. It tells the story, but only the parts that make sense, like you said, because there's other parts that they leave out of all true stories because either they want to hide something or it doesn't fit.
They ain't got enough time. Like,
they did leave a lot out.
You really tell in 2 hours. Right.
Like this movie, I'll say, like knowing the story of them pretty well, there's not a lot that they left out. Like I knew that they left. I had known coming into the movie that they had left out a lot of Dr. Dre's stuff. But I mean, considering that, I mean, they covered Eazy-E like getting AIDS. They showed Suge Knight beating the shit out of Eazy-E. Like there was a lot of
Dre losing his brother.
Dr. Dre's brother. Yeah, a lot of the stuff. Them like screwing over Ice Cube. Like I didn't know if they were necessarily going to put that in the movie. So having them do all that, I thought that they did a decent job of, as far as biopics go, I think one of the reasons I didn't watch this movie is because biopics lately have not been good. A lot of biopics that came out, I mean, I'm having trouble even thinking of them now, but like, biopics, they're either going to win Best Picture for, an Academy Award, or you're not even going to watch it. So, like Bohemian Rhapsody, I think won either Best Picture or he won for Best Actor.
But most of these black biopics really just be coming out to tell the story of the legends and show like how they influence hip hop type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like most black biopic or they'll show like how they got screwed over with money. Like a lot of them always show that. You look at TLC, New Edition, all of them.
Even Tina Turner.
Yeah, but I'm saying they all make sure that they point out how they got screwed over with money. And like even Tina Turner, like that was even kind of more or less even just her relationship with Ike. But like most of them that show, especially like a group, and like I said, in the black biopic, they really show the whole money situation and what they had to overcome with that to finally start, getting there, just say royalties, whatever like that. Like that's majority.
And what's interesting about that, I was gonna say, because the public really didn't know, like, you know what I mean? Until a lot of these stories came out, it was just more so like, oh, okay, Toni Braxton got bankrupt, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11 times. But you know what I'm saying? No one knew what the story was. Same thing with TLC. So for me, I like that they do dive in that, to Lonnie's point, because like, as growing up, we know about TLC, we know about their music and stuff, but do we know the backstory of like the screw over? No, we don't. Right. Unless you like, you know what I'm saying? Unless, they slip up and say it in an interview, but most times they weren't talking about that. So how will we know?
Right.
I also liked how they showed really the creation of the modern contemporary version of rap that we all listen to. Like these are the guys that started it. Like before them, they were even calling it. They were like, you can't be telling real stories. You can't be telling like real rap. Like people don't want to hear that shit about guns and stuff. And I thought that was, me, the little like Jewish 8-year-old was like, like they're like, people aren't going to relate to that. Nobody's going to want it. But I was like, that's what I like. That's what I enjoy when I listen to rap.
And can I also say to that point, Lonnie, also, this was also the birth and the inception of rap on the West Coast. Like even in the movie, they hinted that, like the rest of the time before that, it was all New York, New York, New York. You know what I mean? But like,
they even flew in those guys from New York to like try to have them rap on the song, and it just didn't like,
it didn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also thought it was very funny how they like try to like get Eazy-E to become a rapper, and he's like in the studio and he's like, he doesn't have the like rhythm at all. I thought that was very fun. I enjoyed that part.
Cruising down the street in my 6'4".
DA didn't. DA hated that part. He said that was the worst part.
And by the way, I think that the only guys that actually were rapping was O'Shea Jackson Jr. and the guy playing Dr. Dre. I don't think anybody else's voice. I think the other voices were just like. But I do think that Dr. Dre's voice and O'Shea Jackson, like they were using the actors.
I don't think so.
We don't care.
Not with Ice Cube, son.
We don't care what you think anymore. You're done.
That's fine. That's fine.
This was definitely a great movie. I enjoyed watching it, and I was mad at myself for not having seen it before. I love like Lakeith Stanfield as Snoop Dogg. So good. I mean, he should
not recognize that was him.
Yeah, it's low key convincing. Like people gave him shit for that, like he did a bad job. I was like, when I first seen it, I was like, and I didn't even know who he was at first. I was like, yo, this dude actually kind of looked like Snoop Dogg with a haircut. You know, like back in the day when he was skinny. I was convinced.
Yo, yeah.
The casting in this movie was very well done.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Look at Lonnie. You liked it the first time. I say go watch it again, and maybe you'll feel the same way I do.
It's still a good film, even if there's because I went back and watched other biopics and realized that the acting wasn't as good because you're not as glammed over by the superstardom, but it never took away from so like what Lonnie was saying, even whenever they dumbed down, it didn't ruin the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's his first time watching it. I said that. I said my first time watching it, I was like, man, I love this. You know?
Lonnie is coming from it from a point of knowledge, though. That's a difference as well. Like,
I'm not coming from knowledge.
Well, you said that you weren't familiar with, and grant me if I'm wrong, but you just said you weren't as familiar with the other ones besides, like, you know what I'm saying? You know, my TV.
I wasn't as familiar, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You said that was different.
Lonnie knew the song.
Lonnie knew the songs. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know the song.
Lonnie said he grew up, he knew them. You know what I'm saying? He was even naming parts in the movie that were not there, so he was able to come from it from a place of solid knowledge.
I just listened to him, but I didn't listen to him.
One more thing I want to point out is we all remember that this is the movie that Suge Knight got arrested for attempted murder and is finally in prison for. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
He drove over someone on the set of this movie and he finally went to prison for it. Like they've been trying to get him into prison for years.
Yeah, that's what actually landed him in prison.
Yep.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't know that. Damn.
Yeah, he ran somebody over with his truck.
Yeah, he was trying to seek that pardon from Trump. Yeah.
Was he really?
He said trying. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, trying, you know. But I think for me, this movie, when I saw it when it first came out, I was pumped because I was following it from the audition process. I know a lot of people who auditioned for this movie. I mean, they did literally like a nationwide search for casting. But for me, on the flip side of that, they already knew who they wanted to play. So I was like, y'all just doing this for the publicity, but it worked.
Right.
It's like, why you got people auditioning for Cube and you know O'Shea's gonna play it? Like, come on now, like nepotism at its best. I mean, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't hating. I'm just saying, like,
and he actually looks like him. Like it ain't like Michael Jordan stuff don't look like him. You know what I'm saying? So like they couldn't play him. You know what I'm saying? But like he actually looks like him. So
I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not a casting director, but like I don't know if anybody could have played that part better than his son. You know what I mean?
Nobody. Which
he did
is
a great job.
Because I'm like, I know people specifically like across the U.S. friends who are actors who auditioned for this actual biopic.
Right.
Like, I knew about it, you know what I'm saying, before it actually came out, so I had been following it. But I think definitely I agree with you, Lonnie, casting was on. I think in terms of like when I looked at it, and I actually did this, look at a side by side of all the actors with the actual people they were playing, I'm like, oh, okay, I see those similarities. Like I see it. Like they could be cousins, you know? So I definitely think casting was on point. I actually really, really did like this biopic. When it first came out, I loved it. Like watching it again, I loved it. I think for me, watching it again, I looked at it more so from like the shooting aspect and then like what type of story is like the camera movement showing for me. So I looked at it more like technical for me. And so I've been noticing it's a difference between like the camera work feeling like you're in the movie versus you watching the movie. And so for me, it felt like I was watching the movie, which I didn't mind. My favorite scene definitely was Cube going into the studio, like breaking shit up, and that was my favorite part. I also love the brotherhood aspect of it because in NWA you don't use it's a brotherhood, but I wouldn't necessarily be like that's my first like word or association with them. But in this movie, I do see that it did hint at that. And then I also definitely knew like going in, like they left some stuff out, but I also was like, yo, it's only 2 hours. And for a biopic, I mean, 2 hours is a lot of screen time. It just really is. Did it feel long for me? No. But
2 hours definitely long.
Yeah,
no, I was agreeing with you. 2 hours long,
yeah.
It was actually 2.5.
Yeah, well, yeah, 2.5. I was about to say, yeah, it was like the runtime was like 2:27, 2:30. So that's a long time. But did I feel like I was being, dragged into 2 hours? No. But I also knew going in, I'm like, there's no way they're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of Dre because Dre he needs his own biopic by himself outside of NWA. So for me, I was like going in, all right, am I going to see the story, And with that story, like, are they at least going to hint at Snoop? Are they going to hint at Tupac? You know what I mean? And so for me, it was like, all right, cool, they did. Other than that, I mean, yeah, like I will say I do like at the end how they kind of went into, where their careers went after NWA. Because for me, with them EPing it, like Dre and Cube both were producers on this EP. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, are they gonna kind of go into what was the ... after NWA and easy? And they did. So for me, I definitely like liked it. The concert scenes, yeah, like I saw how they like hinted at the Bye Felicia, how that was a whole inception.
Right.
So that for me was cool, Cube getting into the writing part of it. Also the relationship between him and his his wife, and how that was like a long-term relationship.
They even on Friday.
Exactly, precisely. So for me, I was like, okay, bet. I definitely appreciate that. I think everybody did a great job. There weren't honestly too many things outside, like in the movie, that I felt like was outside of the story or that I did not like.
One thing about the whole Bye Felicia, I did like how you actually saw what influenced kind of Friday. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. Not just the Bye Felicia, but if you remember at the whole the club scene when they did the first Ice Cube did his first concert, if you would say, of the movie. Yeah. They had on the pink jackets, and the guy, the manager or the owner of the club, he had the Jerry curl.
Yeah,
he had the Jerry curl, which hinted at Pinky and whatnot. So I was like, it was nice to see what influenced kind of their lives.
I think it was in the reverse, if you ask me. I think.
Oh, you think?
I think because of that, he just put it in the movie, like as opposed
for sure. And that did not really happen. Where he was like, he ad-libbed that. That was not real. Like that did not start the Friday movie when you like mushed Felicia out of the hotel room.
No,
that was just like a little nod. That was just like a little joke.
I'm saying that moment. When they were wearing the pink jackets.
But I'm saying even that too, like all of
that was influenced by
like I think that just say whoever that person was in real life probably could have reminded him of them, but it probably wasn't actually pink jackets, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So he just probably catered it to that. But go ahead.
I was gonna say, and also if I'm not mistaken, I know Cube did an interview about this. Friday actually wasn't the first movie he had written. I think he had wrote like Next Friday before Friday, but Friday came out, if I'm not mistaken, because he goes into detail about that in an interview, which I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty dope. Like I didn't know it, and he wasn't coming at it from a background of being a writer. But I will say I do appreciate that this that Straight Outta Compton, the movie, where Cube's vision was. Cube's vision. I see what I did there. I love how the movie showed Cube's vision and how he was always thinking beyond the music. Which I think that speaks to him just as a person. Like whenever you hear interviews of Cube or whenever you like meet him, if you know people get the chance, you see that or have a conversation with him, you see that it wasn't just about the music. He was talking about ownership, get into other things to keep the money rolling. It wasn't just about his voice on the mic. And even just the way that he was cemented in the culture. I mean, I definitely like how they hinted at him and his connection with the Nation of Islam. And I feel like also I was wondering if they were going to hint at how he created that meeting between the Bloods and Crips, which they didn't, but I do see how they symbolize like the Blood and Crips coming together with the riot back in the 90s. So I was like, oh, okay, they hinted at that. But for me, if I want to say there's something I wish they would have hinted on a little bit more, would have been how Cube was so monumental in bringing two big gangs together, the Blood and Crips, or I think it was like a moment of unity or something like that. I really wish that they would have like delved into that a little bit.
That might have to be his own biopic, though. I don't think.
I could see that being in his own biopic, but I saw them hinting at it when he did the interview. That's why I was like, okay, well, if you're gonna hint at it in the interview, I would have wanted just a tad little bit more, but it didn't take away from the story for me.
All right, gotcha. All right, cool, man. Well, shout out straight out of Compton.
F. Gary Gray.
F. Gary Gray. Let's move right along to our final movie of the day. I guess morning or afternoon, depending on where you're at. One Night in MIAO, Dade County. Shout out Dade County, man. I actually enjoyed it.
You know about that?
Yeah. I fucks with Dade. Director Regina King, starring Leslie Odom Jr. as Sam Cooke, Kingsley Ben Adir as Malcolm X, Eli Gorey as Cassius Clay, and Aldis. How do you say the guy? I forgot. Aldis or Aldis?
Aldis Hodge.
Aldis Hodge as Jim Brown. Yeah, man. All right. So let's go ahead and do our votes, and then we can get right into it. So on the count of three, how'd you feel about the movie? 1, 2, and 3. Gotcha. All right. So, Lonnie, you can start us off this time. What you got for us, man?
I liked the movie. I thought it was interesting. It was well acted. It was well written. I thought that they did some bold choices, which I appreciate. I didn't necessarily enjoy, but I did appreciate. I didn't necessarily enjoy the whole rivalry thing between Sam Cooke and Malcolm X. I do understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to tell that message. I guess I did enjoy. I enjoyed the message. I guess I didn't necessarily enjoy the delivery system, but it was an important thing that he was trying to say to use your voice in a way to speak about the struggle. And this isn't a time to sit on the fence. You have to make a stand. And I did. I guess I did enjoy it, but I don't know. That didn't feel authentic to me. It turns out it wasn't. In the moment, I was like, I don't know if that's real. I did some research. It actually wasn't real, but
right. I was gonna say, yeah, this whole movie was a very creative way of putting all of their just say theologies or ideas of how they thought and what they represented, and then just make and the meetup was real, but in the sense of exactly the conversation, like you said, and the points that were being made in this movie were definitely crafted by the writer as opposed to just the people in real life.
Sure. I did like how they kind of took these larger than life symbols and kind of showed some of their flaws. You see, Muhammad Ali as a young, almost like a little kid. He's naive, he's very malleable, and, easily influenced, kind of being led around. Jim Brown is kind of this womanizer. I actually felt that Jim Brown was kind of underutilized. He didn't really have a big role in any of the conversations. He didn't really he didn't seem to matter that much to the dialogue.
not to cut y'all, but the only two they really gave him was the very beginning and at the end. Because remember in the beginning, he went to the white people house and he was like, "Yo, we don't let niggas inside the house." So that was like that was the one big moment for him. And then at the end, when he quit football on the movie set to do the career, like that was.
Wait! Y'all saying Jim Brown didn't have a big impact? I feel
like compared to the others, like in the whole, like Sam Cooke, Malcolm X, and Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay were very, very vocal in that whole combative three-way argument or whatever like that, as opposed to Jim Brown was always kind of the mediator. Like he, what I'm saying? Like he wasn't as.
Do you think that's because the other two are more boisterous? Do you think that adds to your opinion? Because the other two were more boisterous.
Sure, if that's. I mean, what
it feels to me is like Jim Brown happened to be there that night, so Jim Brown has to be included. Right. But we don't really know, like the dialogue and the conflict and the story is being told through the conversations of Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke, and Malcolm X, and all three combinations of those. And then Jim Brown also is in the room. You know, like maybe he's the one that's like, he was probably arguably the most famous of all of them. Well, I don't know if that's true necessarily, but
I think Jim Brown was there, like you guys said, as a kind of the voice of reason. You know, he was there giving knowledge, dropping knowledge on them. You know, and
I feel like Jim Brown. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did because I was kind of talking before you talked. I'll let you get back to your point real quick, but I was gonna say just real quick to Lonnie's point. For me, Jim Brown, and also I guess to Rudy's point, had a lot of silent moments for me that I understood, but they were very much nonverbal. But for me, it didn't feel like the nonverbals had less of an impact than the vocal version. Like the vocalness and the boisterousness of like Malcolm X and Sam Cooke and even to an extent Muhammad Ali. Which I think was a bold choice. I think it was a different type of choice, but it was bold, but I didn't miss it. I'm sorry, go ahead, D. I'm not sorry, but go ahead, DA.
Oh, I have finished. It's okay.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I think to Lonnie's point, I think the reason why I agree with him so much is because, like Jim Brown's just say stance in this movie and what he accomplished didn't really affect, just say, the conversation and that night that happened in the hotel. That's why I brought up the point of in the very beginning when he went to the white people house that he felt like was friends, whatever. And then when he went, he wanted to go inside to help the man. You know what I'm saying? Like not whatever. And then he was just like, "Oh no!" And then he said to Cassidy, "Oh man, you know we don't let niggas in the house." Well, you know what I'm saying? So like that was one thing. That was one big moment for him in the movie. If you're watching the movie, that was one big moment. Yeah. And then, but like. His acting career, like when he brought it up to Cassius Clay or whatever, like that was his whole thing, which led to then at the end when he quit football, because Jim Brown was a huge deal as far as football.
Like, you don't think the conversation he had about colorism was like a big moment either?
But I'm saying in the sense,
huge
but
do you think that was a big moment?
We're saying in comparison to the other characters.
That doesn't discredit it.
I'm asking you. I ain't talking about in comparison.
And my answer is it did not have the same effect as far as what happened in the room. The conversation that was happening in the room between the other three were bigger than just the outside world. It was also them shifting their minds amongst each other. But Jim Brown's stance happened outside of the room, is my point.
Brianna, remind me the colors thing. What was he talking about?
He was saying how darker skin.
Asked him. Oh, go ahead, DA.
Yes. That was good. I did. That was probably his most important, interaction of the film was when he was telling Muhammad Ali.
Is it a yes or no? Do you think
I'm saying no because I'm comparing him to the other characters. Once again, I've already outside of that one moment, I've already named two other big moments that he had in the film. I'm not saying he was irrelevant to the overall film. I'm saying to the conversation that was being had in the room, it was way more of a I'm convincing my friends of something that the other three were going through, as opposed to with Jim Brown, he was more or less convincing himself to then go out and make a stance of the world.
I think it's also important to remember that, like, in the context of these four people, Jim Brown, in terms of the like civil rights movement, didn't really do very much. Like, he was not that involved in terms of like the progress of the Black community. Like, he was the most famous athlete in the planet for arguably, definitely in football. And then he just kind of like left and made a couple movies, and then his movie career never really took off outside of like The Dirty Dozen, which they show in the movie, and then he did a Western or two. But he was not in any way compared to Malcolm X or Muhammad Ali or even Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke actually died pretty quickly after this movie took place, and so did Malcolm X within about a year.
Right.
Yeah, I think for me, and to that point, Lonnie, I think for me, if I do have to say something I wish they would have dived into a little bit more, I would have wanted a little bit more of that, and then also Sam Cooke's character. But I will say, when I go into biopics, I know I'm not going to get everything, and I don't go in with that thought. So I go in saying, okay, am I going to get an overall gist of that time? And also the interpretation of it, does it seem authentic? So for me, it felt like the movie felt authentic, but let's be honest, in terms of historical timeline, this movie was way off. I mean, seriously, in terms of like Sam Cooke performing at the Copacabana, like if you look historically, he actually had just finished his second performance at the Copacabana, which was actually great. But in the movie, they depict his, they actually talk about his first performance, which he bombed. That wasn't right before the meeting they had in 1964. And then also to your point, yeah, Sam Cooke had died literally right after that. So they had the meeting in February. Sam Cooke died in December. And then literally almost a year later to the exact date, a few days off, Malcolm X died. So, you know, it was like a lot of like, when you put it in perspective, they foreshadowed a lot, but I'm like I said, I go into biopics like, let me learn the real story, and also, you know, let me understand, or let me just look at the story for itself. But don't look to no biopic to give you the full history. Go to a documentary for that.
I don't even think this was a biopic, honestly. Like I
I was going to say that.
It was just a play.
Because even with, if you think about the realism of boxing, there's no way that Muhammad Ali would have fought that first fight and then immediately fought another fight that fast. It doesn't happen that way. Like, people fight.
Historical.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying,
you got to put it in the historical timeline.
What I'm saying is, but they basically took a bunch of like historic landmarks in all these people's lives and just mixed it all into this one movie to the conversation of what happened, you know what I'm saying, as far as in that room, whatever like that. Because like a biopic, like I said, would have really showed, like watching actual, you know, Malcolm with Denzel, or even Ali with Will Smith, like those were more or less like this was the actual, as close as possible story of these people's lives. But this was literally, which is why I'm hanging on to Lonnie's point about the whole Jim Brown thing so much, is because this movie was fictionalized to be this conversation between these friends, but Jim Brown's stance for me didn't have as big of an impact on that conversation, as opposed to like he was tackling the same overall, like we need to change the world type of thing, but his only dealt with his own internal battle and then the world, and then even kind of mediating amongst the friends, don't let them fight, whatever. But everybody else was very, very boisterous about, you know, about like what their stance was, or if they changed their mind, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Even Cassius Clay snitched on Jim Brown. He didn't even want nobody else to know that he was doing the movie stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
I think for me, yeah, I hear your point. I think for me, I think that's why I appreciated it more for Jim Brown character, at least for me. And also, I was gonna say, you brought something up that was really interesting. For me, I did like the cinematography of this, because I definitely felt like I was in the story, just in the way that they chose to shoot it. Like a lot of like over the shoulders, like you felt like you were in the room. Even a lot of the panning, it felt like you was in the room, like just switching your view. So I think cinematography definitely was on point with that. Even the overhead shot that they had of the arena when Cassius Clay was boxing, I thought that was like a bomb ass shot. Now I will say, ironically enough, this entire movie actually derived from a play. For you guys, my question is, do you guys feel like it was a play format, or did you feel like this was
not as much as Ma Rainey.
The actual? Do you feel like this was an interpretation of the conversation more?
Not as much as Ma Rainey. I don't think it was. I don't think Ma Rainey felt more of a this was a play to a movie type of thing more than this. I mean, I can kind of see it, but it didn't feel as heavy as Ma Rainey.
To me, it felt definitely like a play. I mean, this
I would
definitely
also
vibed like a play.
I would also agree with I kind of agree with both of you. There were some parts that didn't feel play like, but watching it, you go in, you watch it. I didn't know it was play, but watching it, I was like, this is a play. This has to be a play. It's one location and 4 people talking. It's a play. It's
pretty close to my house, by the way, the Hampton house, not too far from my house.
And I thought, I just to give a shout out to the actors, man. I thought the performances were phenomenal. I think it was very impressive to see other people portray something so well that you've already done for her. Like, Cassius Clay with
Cassius Clay for sure.
With Will Smith, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I thought that dude did a very good job. Malcolm X, all of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like everybody was very, even Jim Brown, like, I've seen Aldis Hodge play in a lot of different things, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like he did a very good, just say a replica of Jim Brown, his tone, his body, posture, everything. Because I've watched videos of Jim Brown when he was younger, just talking and carried himself, whatever like that. And I thought it was very dope. So I thought they casted this very well. It was very believable as far as that. And I did want to just ask y'all this as far as my last question. Do you think that this movie was kind of like trying to like make you sympathize with, or I ain't gonna say sympathize with, but have some sympathy on Malcolm X? And the reason why I say that is because I just felt like he was just always in a vulnerable position. Like, this whole movie was almost kind of like showing like him dodging his death or something. I don't know if I maybe felt like that because I know he already, got killed for what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know. Like I've never looked at Malcolm X as like I always just looked at him as like this dominant, just bulldog.
Yeah, for sure.
Figure, you know what I'm saying? But in this movie, I just felt like I almost like at times I almost kind of felt like dang man, they finna. Like, I know what's gonna happen after this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's because I'm looking at it hindsight or you know what I'm saying. But like, I don't know. It just felt like that's
Well, at least for me, because I've done research on Malcolm X and have like listened to interviews of people who were with him, I feel like it was an honest portrayal. Because when you listen to people who actually, like his wife, his children, people who are around him, that vulnerable side is what they talk about, even though that's not what the public sees.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you just only look at him from his speeches, how he looked on TV, you're going to get that dominant personality. But if you get into the intricacies of people who were around him, they talk about that vulnerability that Malcolm X had that the public never saw.
Right.
For me, I was like, oh, okay, I definitely appreciate that. But I was going to say, also to your point, I feel like that for all of the characters. Like, I feel like, and shout out to Regina King. Y'all, I'm about to get on my Black Woman Sis Power movement. Shout out to her for directing this. Because I love the fact that in her direction, she chose to highlight those vulnerabilities of these powerful characters. Mm-hmm. Going back to Lonnie's point about just even like the childless spirit of like Cassius Clay, in that room, he was the youngest. So even in just like the actor's portrayal and his nuances of jumping on the bed, hopping from this place to that place, it was almost like a child, like, sit your ass down. Right. But I appreciated that. And even, with Sam Cooke's character, if you know his story, he was like, well, it's different because, like I said, historically, some of the stuff was kind of scattered in the movie and some things weren't brought up at all. But historically, he did talk about, how his brain was in terms of empowering, owning your masters. I mean, he was the Berry Gordy before Berry Gordy. And even when Malcolm X was bringing that up in terms of like, you have the largest draw out of all of us, that was very true. And so I love that it hinted at that for his character. And then, you know, for him to tragically die after that, and even the way he died, I'm still kind of pissed off that they don't really know the real story about that. But to Regina's directing abilities, I love that she highlighted the vulnerabilities of these characters. So I felt like I was getting a pretty authentic version of them, even though I wasn't alive during that time.
Right.
If I can give my opinion now about this movie, I feel like you guys trying to shut me up so I don't talk bad about this movie.
Honestly didn't realize you hadn't said nothing this whole time.
I think this movie did a great job. I think it was at the end of the movie, I did enjoy it, but it kind of fell short for me. You guys may have liked the acting. I thought some of the I was more not disappointed with the Malcolm X character, but I just wanted more from him, I guess. But as far as the film goes, I honestly was hoping that this would just be literally one night in Miami where we just see them be together. You know, be who maybe that's how they are, you know, that's how they were being portrayed and whatnot. But I feel like we saw what the public saw of them and not who they really are as characters in their own homes or when they're actually around friends. I felt like that's what I wanted to see. I didn't want to come in here and see a movie about. Although, like Lonnie said, the message phenomenal, especially how they did the ending with Sam Cooke singing one of my favorite songs, "I Was Born by a River." That's beautiful. I thought that was all beautiful, but again, I feel like you know what my wife said it the best. I feel like we want black people. We want representation, but all we do is make stuff for black people. Whereas this could have just been a movie and not it could have powerful moments, but it could, like I said, could have just been a movie about 4 friends in one night. That's really it. That's really just how I felt.
What does that have to do with it being a black movie? I'm confused.
Because they were hitting on a lot of black movement stuff.
This movie is in the what 19.
I get. Don't get me wrong.
Listen.
Oh my God, you guys all.
Because what you're saying is you're thinking of 4 black men in Miami. Now,
I'm not.
That's not.
I'm not.
Born in 1964.
I'm not
in Miami back then. And then number 2. You have one of these friends are Malcolm X. Okay, so you realize they used him to set the tone of why we're not going anywhere. Like he's the one who made
it. I got it all.
We're not talking about Morris Chestnut, Shamar Moore, whoever in Miami. We're talking about 4 people who impacted, just say civil rights and Black history, whatever the case may be. So
culture in general.
So why would you expect anything else? Like, why you just thought they were just gonna be on Miami slinging meat? Just you know what I'm saying? Like, just like I mean, what did you? I'm just confused.
No, like I said, you can have 4 people in the room and literally, I just didn't want to have to deal with the whole burden of the black movement. You know, it's not a burden or anything. It's not necessarily a burden. But I'm saying that the whole topic, why can't these 4 black men who are successful in their lives journey, be friends for one night? Why is that a bad thing to want?
For me, then it wouldn't be one night in Miami based on historical figures. This is an interpretation.
It would be for historical figures.
You cannot disassociate the people with the story. Like if that's the case, I've seen the play, so it literally does deal with just them
No,
one night in Miami.
I get
However,
it.
my thing is you can't go into this movie if they're advertising these historical figures. Don't watch it. Like you can't disassociate who these characters are, who the real people are from the story.
Look at.
And if you do, don't watch it.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. All I was hoping for.
Right, but I
is that they pulled the curtain back on them being just friends, them being the four men that they are. For
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but what I'm telling you is this: that I don't think that somebody would have taken four people who had I direct it like I said. This wasn't just you're not just talking about like this was a James Brown and whoever Little Richard, like they found each other at a black bar and just started singing and dancing.
This was an intentional.
Those are more like fun figure icons, but I'm saying
I get it.
No, what I'm telling you is that I get what you wanted, and I get that could have happened with other figures, but nobody.
Why can't it happen with these figures?
Because for one, they started with Malcolm X. Okay.
What's the point of making? Hold on, 1 second. What's the point of making that movie, DA? What is the point of making Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke, and Jim Brown, and have them like make hamburgers? Like, what's the point of that movie? Who's gonna watch that movie? So you're gonna watch Bad Boys and like have them just like at a barbecue the whole time? Huh?
You're saying that Malcolm X is not a normal guy?
No, he's not a normal guy. Malcolm X is not a normal person.
So when he go home, he don't brush his teeth and take a shower just like the rest of us?
Yeah, that's what I want to watch. I want to watch Malcolm X's morning lotion. That's what I want to see. I want to see Malcolm X, what hand lotion he uses, if he's a Crest or a Colgate kind of guy. Or does he double knot his shoes, or is he just a single knot kind of guy? Like, who gives a shit about that?
The whole point. The whole point is to show.
It's okay. We don't have to take this any further.
The whole point is to show that those level of stars, like all of them, were very well known in whatever arena they were in, and they were all legit friends. But they lived in a time where all of their influenced the problems that was happening in real life. And we're not just talking about just one or two situations or three or four, whatever that we deal with.
Like each of them.
We're talking about everything being covered. Go ahead.
I think that what DA is asking for actually happens in the movie, where Muhammad Ali and Jim Brown want to just go party, and Sam Cooke, they want to just like go be themselves. And Malcolm X is like, hello, we live in too important of a time.
Right.
We're too important of people.
I definitely get it.
Opportunity pass.
Again, I definitely get it. But you have to understand that's the writer putting that situation together. Why couldn't the writer have dealt the situation differently, where Malcolm X was just chilling? What is so wrong with what is so wrong with seeing these historical figures flipping a burger?
Well, for one, because they did beat up real, and number two, Malcolm X probably could be who this person who you're talking about, but he just may not have done it with these particular friends, because once he's thinking of the agenda at hand and the influence that they have on this agenda. So and that's who Malcolm X was when it came down.
That character was portrayed, yes.
Right. So what I'm saying is that
there's a different side of Malcolm X.
But when they showed him at home with his kids, he was different. You showed him at home with his wife, he's different. So I'm saying with a different set of friends, you may have gotten the flipping burgers type of Malcolm. Somebody who he'd have just been hanging with cool B from the from the hood. He would have just like, oh, it's the homie. But I got Cassius Clay, who's not even calling himself Muhammad Ali at this time. I got and so like literally, while they do want to go and get pussy, like Jim Brown said, and whatever, stop, wait, let's do this instead. And I don't think they would have used these four together to tell anything else. Now, if you want that same story that you want, you can get four black icons and just show them their normality, but it's not going to happen with these four. Especially not the first time I put them together. Maybe if they made a sequel, they hung out before Sam Cooke and Malcolm X died or something, or maybe
they should do a sequel to this one. It's called Tuesday Night at Malcolm's, and it's just a dinner party, and DA can write it. DA, write that movie, and
Let's
then
go.
you have Tuesday Night at Malcolm's. You set the menu. You tell everybody what everybody wants. It's
Another great
asparagus.
thing about this movie. Another great thing about
Kinda
this movie was the moment where Malcolm X told the story of how he met Sam. I thought that was I thought that was a beautiful moment.
He went to his concert.
Yeah, he didn't meet him there. They already knew him.
Yeah, that wasn't their first
Yeah, no,
time.
I'm saying how he well, okay, how the story of the concert.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
He was
actually
talking
my
about how he
favorite
met
scene.
how many times he met or saw Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke in concert. Now,
but,
to your point,
anyway.
I was gonna say, to your point, I did appreciate one. Literally, that scene was my favorite scene out of the whole movie. Like, it haunts me in my sleep at night sometimes. But I would say I really did appreciate seeing Malcolm X in a concert setting, because that's just not a location that I would picture Malcolm X ever being. For me, like, seeing him, even just him observing Sam Cooke at the concert, I felt like was a deliberate scene to show Sam Cooke, but also to show a different side of Malcolm. Because I'm pretty sure he went to concerts. I just wouldn't have put those two together in the same sentence with the name Malcolm X.
That's the Malcolm X I'm talking about. We could have saw. But anyways, I thought that song that Sam Cooke was a hit. That was fire right there. I thought that was a hit.
Oh, Sam Cooke was a beast. Like,
I mean, my grandfather sung his songs all the time.
I was gonna say, did you guys know the story about these characters, about these people before watching One Night in Miami?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Well, you didn't know the story about them?
No, I mean, like, all of their individual stories. Like, did you know all of their stories, or just like one or two before watching One Night in Miami?
I didn't know that much about Sam Cooke before. Like, obviously, I know who he was. I wasn't super acquainted with his story.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the other three, I mean, I literally, that shot of him in the pool where he's like, Muhammad Ali. I have that poster on my wall in my bedroom.
Oh, wow.
I have a poster of that shot in my bedroom. They actually did a couple of those famous shots. Brianna, you had touched on it, the shot from above in the boxing match. There's a very famous shot. So you guys all know the famous shot of Muhammad Ali where he's telling that guy to get up. There's a shot from the top of that as well. That's a little bit lesser known, but also still pretty famous. And then the shot that Malcolm X has of Muhammad Ali, over the ropes, talking to the crowd, and you can see it through the viewfinder. All of those are very famous shots of Muhammad Ali. And I thought that was very, very well done. But especially the pool. I mean, I love that shot. I have it. I have a picture of it framed in my bedroom. I mean, I definitely know all about these guys for sure. Jim Brown, especially, I'm a huge football fan. Jim Brown to this day is still regarded as the #1 football player of all time.
Tom Brady might have him now. I'm not gonna lie.
Tom Brady is definitely better.
Tom Brady might have him.
I guarantee you, if you look at the list of the top 100 players in NFL history,
I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying in retrospect. I mean, Tom Brady has done something that's pretty unbelievable. But I didn't understand your question, Brianna. I thought you meant the actors who played the characters. I know their story. But
no, I meant the actual people.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did know about the actual people. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Before people, I did know about them. DA, what about you?
Yeah, I already said yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
I didn't know that Jim Brown was from St. Simon.
I know you don't think I'm fully black.
Yeah, no, I think you're black. I just think you're black people. But no, I didn't know that either, Lonnie. I didn't know he was from the island either.
I didn't know he was from St. Simon.
Sam Cooke grew up in Chicago, so I'm always gonna be biased. So I knew a lot about him.
Gotcha. Dope. All right. Well, let's end things off with our favorite game. We got
don't forget to change the bottom.
We actually got Minister Lonnie in the building. He initiated a wedding. He married some folks, so he's official.
I did.
Now.
Did you see that? Did you see that I married Jay Jimenez?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, absolutely. I seen the picture.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've also
never met Crystal, right? You never met her?
No.
Yeah, she came. I think she came after you left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I never met her. All right, cool. So let's do Straight Outta Compton. What do you guys think the budget was for this film? 2015 film.
I don't know. Do I have to participate this time?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna just throw a number. I'm gonna go with 120. There we go.
$120 million to make it. That's the budget of Straight Outta Compton.
Hey, what the hell? I don't really want to play this time.
Why? What is
I just want to break from losing.
Dang,
I just want
bro,
to break from losing.
Just throw a number out there. You okay? Go at 120. That's fine.
That's what I did. I just threw.
They spent more on this movie than they did Avatar. This was
right.
No, I think Avatar cost us a shitload way more than that.
Avatar.
Absolutely.
Actually, while we're talking, I actually just rewatched Avatar the other day, and it's very much better than I remember it being.
Avatar is fire.
Really?
Good movie.
Avatar is fire.
I'm like very excited for the sequel.
Oh, you guys talking about the Last Airbender? Yeah, I know. It's great.
No, I'm talking about the good one.
I
do like that cartoon.
The cartoon was great, but they butchered the live action.
So anyway, budget.
For Straight Outta Compton.
I'm still sticking with 120.
I got you.
There's a lot, right? You've got costumes, you have old cars, a lot of location.
Watching live, y'all can guess too if you want to guess what you think the budget is for Straight Outta Compton. Before I reveal it.
I feel like Straight Outta Compton, we're talking about millions of dollars.
It's a lot of costumes and cars and.
I'm just thinking of the setup alone for those concert scenes.
A lot of extras.
Yeah, tons of extras. I'm gonna throw out there. I'm gonna say 90. I'm between 80 and 90.
So I'm gonna go a little bit lower. I don't think it was quite that big of a budget. I'm gonna say like I'm gonna say $30 million.
Okay.
Because the actors probably didn't make that much money, except for like Paul Giamatti, and even then he probably did this pretty cheap, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said 30?
30, yeah, 30.
And then so you want 85, Brianna, since you're going in between 90 and 80?
I can't do a range. I gotta pick a specific number.
Yes.
Okay, 80.
80, and then DA, you still at 120. In your comments.
There's another guy named Daryl.
I seen it. All right, so so yeah, of course, Lonnie's always the closest. It's actually $50 million.
Okay.
Was the budget.
Okay.
What was it?
50.
50.
50. Mm-hmm. And then what do you guys think the box office, what they made in the box office?
I feel like that's probably closer to what DA's number was for the first guess.
Yeah, I was going
like 120.
You say it was 50 million. You know what? I'm gonna say what this guy Daryl said. 90 million.
This guy Daryl.
I do remember it was like number one for a minute at the box office when it came out.
Yeah.
150. It was like number one. I say 150. I'm gonna stick there. 120. So that's what you said originally. Yeah, you said 120.
I said 120.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 120.
It's actually 201.6 million is what they made.
Yeah. Hey, they made back their money.
All right, cool. And then One Night in Miami. What do you think the budget was for that?
Oh,
I'm gonna go with like
so this is a period piece.
10 million, Drew.
10 million.
Oh, okay.
I'll say 15.
I'm gonna say 20.
20. The
That's her first
actual
movie.
retail price, Lonnie Strikes Again, is actually 16.9 million for the budget.
Okay.
Damn.
16.9 million.
By the way, whoever Malcolm X is should play Barack Obama in any Barack Obama film for the rest of history.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I looked it up. He actually has played him once already, but he needs to play him forever.
Yeah.
Again. True. Okay.
He fits that build of that slender, smooth,
just even his man, like his rhythm of speaking was very Barack Obama. I was like, oh shit. And that guy's actually English, born in England.
You brought that up. I was gonna say that's been a big controversy, actually.
Yeah, that's been a big thing.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say with Regina King, just among actors, because she didn't cast only Black actors. She casted from people who are outside of America, and that's always a very, very touchy topic when you get into like casting and Black figures and Black actors. It's a really touchy topic.
Well, she casted Black actors. They just weren't Black Americans. They were just.
Well, I said, other than Black Americans.
Right.
But because I was gonna say, dude is from England. Like he's from overseas.
But I don't make him not Black. He's just not African American. But I mean, he's still Black.
But he's not Black American though. Like he's not American.
That's the point that I'm making. I'm saying because you said that she didn't cast any Black people. I'm saying they were Black. They just weren't Black Americans. Is what I'm saying. Because the controversy is about the English and then the Black Americans and them.
I know what the controversy is.
Right, but what you
are Black Americans.
Right, but that's not what you said. I know what you meant, but I was just clearing it up because that's not what came out your mouth.
Okay. Yeah. To be clear, the people who they were playing were Black Americans, and she didn't cast Black Americans. So there's been a lot of controversy about that, and she defended it. She did an interview for it, and she said the best actor for the job got the job.
That's
been a controversy even before her. My bad, Dia. Go ahead.
I was going to say, sometimes you got to give it to British actors. They kick ass, man. I can't even knock it. I mean, if you look at a lot of people who portray Americans in American movies, they're from England, and like Christian Bale or Tom Holland. They're all British.
I mean, listen,
they all kick ass.
People want to talk shit, but ain't nobody said nothing about Idris Elba yet, and he been doing
exactly Idris Elba.
No, it's issues with him. I mean, I can only speak for myself as an actor. I mean, yes, there are great British actors. I definitely believe I don't have an issue with any of the casting for this film at all. I think they all did a pretty phenomenal job. But I do say that there is a bigger issue that I do think in terms of portraying Black Americans and celebrity or icons that are Black American and not even opening the door to even feature Black Americans or to allow Black American actors to audition. I think that that's a huge disadvantage. And I definitely think that people who do that, because there are people who do that in the industry, I think that they're disservicing themselves and the story.
Is that what happened? Did they not allow Black Americans?
No. This one, Regina King did audition like a plethora of people. So that's why she defended her answer and saying, hey, the best actor got the job. So she didn't deny anybody from auditioning, but there have been movies in the past where Black Americans aren't even allowed to audition for the role, and they're actually portraying Black icons, Black American icons.
Like what movie?
I'm gonna go back because I have like a list in my head. Like there was an issue with what was that? It was like a biopic. I want to say maybe 3 years ago, and it was like a huge thing. I'm gonna come back on the next episode and bring it because I've been studying this or following this conversation. One, because it portrays me, But just because a lot of my acting friends have this conversation a lot, I'm gonna bring back the research because it's slipping my mind now.
Gotcha. All right, and so this one actually obviously doesn't have a box office because it came out on Prime. So we're gonna do the Rotten Tomatoes score. So what do you think the critics and then the audience? So we'll do the critics first. What do you think the critics score was for this film?
I'm going to say that if you're a critic for this show and you give it a negative review, you better fucking have that resignation letter ready because culture is not prepared for anyone to say negative things about this movie right now. You better come correct. On BuzzFeed will have an article about you real quick if you don't have a positive review for One Night in Miami. So high 90s, I would say.
To answer your question, Brad, it's just 0 to 100%. Literally, just you can say 79, 18%, like literally to the exact number.
I give it 98. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it ended up getting. I remember glancing at Rotten Tomatoes before, like when it first came out, before we even decided that this was the movie, and I believe it was like upper 90s. I'm gonna say 98. I believe.
What'd you say, Lonnie?
High 90s, 98, 97, 99, something like that.
So 2 98s, okay.
I'm going to just go with 80, 84.
Loser. All right. It actually was 98 on the head. The critics gave it a 98.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I remember looking at Rotten Tomatoes one day.
And then
those 2% came from like alt-right movie reviewing websites. That's the only two. Those are the only 2% that would dare give this a bad review.
True. No, you know who gave it the review? Those cops that DA was talking about in the beginning. That's it. That's the 2% right there.
The name of the website is thinbluelinemoviereviews.com.
All right. What about the audience?
I think the audience, I'm going to stick with 84.
84?
90.
90?
Okay, Rotten Tomatoes was 98. I'm going to say 90. 90.
Gotcha. DA actually was the closest, and this was actually 83 from the audience.
Yeah, you have to think some people are out there like me. I didn't want
Some people want the police to win. Some people
I don't care about the police. I just wanted to see them be friends. That's really all I wanted to see.
Or maybe that just was their friendship, man. Anyway, all right, cool, man. Another great episode. Another, 2 great, phenomenal movies. Anybody got anything personally they want to throw out there? For me, I'm just plugging the Instagram page, Dumbass Film Students. Follow us there. That's where we're uploading content, flyers, promo clips, highlights from episodes you can go check out. Anybody else?
No. Stay tuned, Production starts soon. Shit's coming out. Better get ready.
Oh, there it is. If you ain't ready, you better get ready.
Hard? Was that
that was my impression of Kevin Hart.
I got you. It was actually pretty good. I was actually gonna say Kevin Hart. What about you, D Moore? Got anything?
No, just follow the podcast, follow us. Got some things in the works.
Gotcha.
You'll find out when you find out.
Cool beans. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank everybody who tuned in live, left comments and reviews. If you guys got any ideas of movies that you would like us to watch, please let us know in the comments. Or you can.
Can we just also acknowledge this was our first live show ever?
I did. Absolutely.
We did, but I mean, that's kind of monumental for the podcast. I'm just gonna say.
I mean, it's a pretty big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Rudy, you're still recording this and are going to post it on the website, right?
Correct.
On the page? All
right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. Yeah, this first live show, you know what I'm saying? I think it went great. Like I said, we got feedback, we got viewers, and yeah, man, we popping. You know what I'm saying? So, Dumbass Film Students, follow us, like us, fuck with us.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey.